Hey witches, I want to have a little chat about depression today. Shadow work and witchcraft are not going to cure your depression. It will help you understand it, sit with it, prepare for it, alchemize it, and manifest with it. But all the tools in your healing toolkit may not ever really cure it. Manifesting, having all the money, time, and resources in the world also won't make depression or anxiety magically go away for good. You see, while we are spirit and soul, we are also humans here to have human experiences. So that means we cycle through the emotional wheel. We have ups and downs. Sometimes it's love and light. Sometimes it's rage and sadness. I turned my life around. I manifested a wonderful relationship, friends, community, self-confidence, travels, investments, a business I love, money, weight loss, self-love, and so much more. I am pretty damn good at manifesting when I put my mind to it, if I do say so. I went from being miserable in every aspect of life to manifesting all the things I really truly desired. And it still is a pretty magical journey. Yet after trying all the things and learning how to manifest exactly what I want all the time, I have come to several conclusions. The first conclusion, magic and manifesting are not going to fully heal depression, at least not for me. Getting everything you want isn't going to get rid of the sad feelings completely. And medication was not the cure for me either. Now, this is just for me personally. Medication was just going to suppress all my feels, band-aid them, but it wasn't going to go away. Intuitively, I knew it was something that I would either have to face now or face it later if I ever wanted to stop taking medication. And there's no judgment about that. That just wasn't my path. That was not my medicine. So really, I concluded that we can do one of three things when it comes to our sadness, anxiety, and depression. We can suppress it. We can let it take us down, which ultimately happens the longer we suppress it. Or we can learn to work with it. We can learn how to allow for the ebbs and flows that come along with being a human. We can become a team with our depression, as odd as that may sound. I started out on my shadow work journey with the intention to cure my depression, my anger, my sadness, and my anxiety. What I found instead was so much more gold than a cure. So, for many of us, those of you that are much like me, that depression is not fully going to go away. And so we may as well learn to work with it, to accept it, but not to succumb to it. There is a big difference. And to also learn to find grace in the roller coaster ride. So to do this, we must choose to step into our warrior archetype and fight the good fight. The moments of depression still come, but I work with these moments in a much different way now. And I'm sure that you've heard the saying, what you resist grows. So I allow for the days where I want to stay in bed, days when I need to ignore the world, my phone, and my work, days where I may take more than one nap. But I do limit those now. And I have worked with my own depression cycles so much that I know when it's coming on. And I allow it now instead of resisting it. Because for me, there's nothing that I can do that fully stops it from showing up. The good news here, though, is that in doing this sort of work, these sad moments for me went from happening almost every day to maybe lasting a week or two at a time, eventually being just a few days at a time, and now it's 1 or 2 days out of a month on average. And I would say that's quite the improvement. And if I can change, then I know that you can too. But the thing is, you've got to choose it. And so through my shadow work journey, I've also discovered that we can get fulfillment out of all of our emotions, if that's the perspective we choose. And if that draws your attention, I highly recommend checking out the book Existential Kink by Carolyn Elliott. There is some shadow alchemy gold in her existential kink process. And we can alchemize, we can manifest, and we can grow through the good emotions and the bad. That means we don't necessarily have to always feel this urge to push away all the bad. right? We don't have to stuff them down. We don't have to be overtaken by them either. We can portal into them. We can find the gold within them. We can challenge ourselves to flow through them. The key word being flow. Flowing with your emotions, again, does not mean letting them take over and that you just swim in them. And for those of you who were in our 2021 Fall Soul Wealth Accelerator, you do know all about portaling into the undesirable emotions and fears. Be sure to teach your friends all about it. And if you turned to witchcraft or shadow work to heal like I did, you may find yourself a bit disappointed, possibly even discouraged that you still experience moments of sadness, anger, anxiety, or depression creeping up on you, despite all the healing and all the magic and all of the energy work that you do. Depression really is a beast of its own, and one I've been battling with for the past few decades. It has some really strong chords to anxiety, hopelessness, rage, and grief also. So, depression is kind of turned into this catch-all word, right? But for those that do battle with it, you know that there are many different emotions and layers to work through underneath that depression umbrella. For me, for years, I thought I was depressed and full of anxiety strictly because of my outer circumstances. The job, the traffic, the failing relationship, the low confidence. And don't get me wrong, these things definitely do contribute to the depressive potion, but they aren't always the cause and they aren't always the full fix. You see, I fixed the job problem, the relationship problem, and the traffic problem. Yet the shadow of depression and this chronic I am not enoughness, that's still a part of my blueprint. I still find myself on the battlegrounds. I still tussle with an army of overwhelming thoughts and emotions that anxiety or depression can bring. And it's not always situational. It's not always hormonal. However, that is also a very important part of the potion. Sometimes, at least for me, it's just a part of what I came here to experience and to overcome, and then to help others empower themselves through their quote unquote bad emotions too. The thing is, there's also this other layer that we add to this depressive potion, self-shame. Right? Have you ever said to yourself, or thought to yourself, I have so much of what I want, I should be happy, right? I hear that a lot for clients, especially who come to me for energy healing and energy clearing. A lot of, self-shame that, oh, I've done this shadow work, I've done this up level, I have a lot of what I want, I've redesigned life, I should be happy. And sometimes you will be, but sometimes you won't, right? And other times that self-shame, we can take that on from somebody else's perspective. When they say things like your life isn't that bad, or people have it way worse than you should be grateful, and first world problems, right? Just because we have all the things doesn't mean that all the undesirables within us magically go away. There's a lot of reasons why we're experiencing these feelings. It can be energetic, it can be ancestral, it can be something physical, it can be hormonal, it can be courting contract, right? There's a lot of reasons. So just because we have first world conveniences doesn't mean there's not something else going on within us. Right? And there is also this level of reprogramming and repatterning that we need to do that can be quite a bitch too. For me, I have to consciously choose happiness and joy every day. There are other days where I allow the emotions to flow through, even when they are uncomfortable. And let me tell you, that's some of my powerful moments when I'm willing to do that. And then there are other days where I enter those battlegrounds and I fight off the old cycle of depression, the old program. I'm still in that deprogramming process. But even if it's been a battle to get there, even if you're so tired and exhausted, I want you to keep this next little piece in your heart. It won't always be a battle. And on the days that it is a fight, hey, that is what our inner warrior is here for. And that is why it is real handy to know and understand all parts of yourself, so that you can call forward the version of you that is required in each moment. A little shape-shifting, if you will, flowing through it all. And after you work through all the layers and the shadows, that is when you then step to that recoding process we're talking about. Your patterns need to change. How you show up to life needs to change. How you show up when things are hard, when things are traumatic, when things are good. Your behaviors need to change. Your thoughts need to change. We cannot keep doing and thinking the same way and expect to magically feel like a different person. For that, you have to keep consciously choosing your perspective each and every day. You have to keep showing up for the journey. And I have been writing this blog off and on for the past couple days, and I've deleted some and I've added some and I've reworked some of it. So I keep asking myself, what is the purpose for this? I felt compelled to write about my depression, so I did. I try to be very spirit-led in my day-to-day life. And so when I feel intuitively guided to something, I try for the most part to do it. So that's, I didn't know why I was writing it, but after asking that question, I do believe there's two reasons for this video, blog, article today. Reason number one, to share hope. Your life can be different, even with the relentless cycle of depression. If I can learn to make magic with my sadness, I know you can too. Let me tell you, I have discovered and uncovered along this journey that some of my most creative moments have come from moments of deep sadness. There's gold to be found. But you got to choose it. You have to want it. You have to require it. And you have to dedicate yourself to it. What helped me was to make it a non-effing negotiable, to find the gold in all aspects of me, which means I've got to show up and I've got to commit to the ride. And as a side note, I did do the same thing with my neurodivergence. I made it a non-negotiable to learn how to find the power from my ADHD-like behaviors and anxiety and chaotic thoughts. And so this process works here too. I have really been learning how to work with my neurodivergence as a superpower instead of a disability. I am now creating magic with the chaos in my mind rather than it making for a chaotic life. And reason number two for this topic today, I really do hope that my words serve as your permission slip if you need one. It's okay if your life is exactly how you want it to be, but you still get sad. It's okay if your life and your thoughts are not all love and light, and it's quite unreasonable to think that they would be. It is okay to decide that you want to find the magic in your negative emotions and cycles, rather than shaming them or thinking yourself wrong for having them. And that's why I recommend the book Existential Kink, is it really walks you through this deep process of learning to find what you're still getting out of these experiences. What part of you still requires that experience? Take some deep digging, but there's gold there for sure. And it is okay if you have done a shit ton of shadow work and energy work and healing and clearing, but you still feel depressed or mad sometimes. It is okay. May my words inspire you, give you hope, and help you to feel seen, held, and understood. And I am sending all of the empowerment, magic, and abundance your way. And if I can support you in your journey in any way, please do not hesitate to reach out.